start recording, I guess. So we have Onion Sheep here playing Sword. What do you think Sheepy brought to the plate this time?
It's very likely he brought Control Sword, since lately that's probably the deck he's been laddering the most with.
And then we see
And it also defeats Roach.
Yeah. And we see JJ bringing a Forest deck. What do you think he brought this time as well?
He's kind of a fan of Kyo, so I'm assuming it's Silver Bolt. It's an experimental deck that supposedly beats Control Sword, so he might have a pretty favorite matchup.
So we have here, starting the early turns, we have pretty much the curve going on with Sheepy's hand, and playing May first turn for JJ. What do you think him playing May first turn is?
That's like the ultimate disrespect. It's like, oh look, I don't. You obviously don't have a 1-drop, and you're Control. What's your 2-drop gonna be? I totally have Ancient Elves. That's what it's announcing. But the fact that he didn't have a 2-drop is kind of questionable right now.
Yeah. So do you think like it's a correct thing to do playing the May first?
I really doubt it, because a May is a 1-cost removal that you can really not afford to give up. Even if you have Ancient Elf, because you only Ancient Elf if you want a 4/5 Ancient Elf. I believe it's a misplay.
Alright. So we just have the earlier turns playing out a little bit fast. And we see Dark Angel Olivia coming into Sheepy's hand. What's the point of putting this tech into his deck?
Well, you can have 5 evolves for Fangblade and Albert. That's a ton of face damage right there. Not to mention the Alwidas he decided to put into Control Swords.
And now we're coming in the first evolve turns. He has Elvis Princess Mage. What's like the main reason why he would bring Elvis Princess Mage to his hand?
Well, he wants to set up for Silver Bolt, but as it seems, he's starting to like lose tempo on the board. If he doesn't play the fairies now, it's likely that he's going to die. Luckily, Sheepy doesn't have a turn 5 Albert, so there's not much face damage going on.
Yeah, do you think he's gonna play the Healing Angel here?
Yeah, for sure. You want to set up tempo since your opponent didn't, and Sheepy probably thinks this is Roach.
Now coming turn 5, what is his like favorite play? What play should he play here?
Fina's probably decent, but since he didn't unload the board before, it's probably Will of the Forest. Oh, Verdant.
Verdant Steward. We haven't seen
That's
this
a
card.
strange card.
We haven't seen this card in a very long time.
It's going to mill him for sure, though.
Unless he places fairies.
Yeah. He decides not to, because it's not a point of wasting 0 costs. But this actually blocks the Alwida's play, which is actually pretty good.
Well, it blocks it in the sense that it gets rid of him using an Evo to go through it, or maybe he just trades 3 and 2 into it. The 3/2 out of Alwida's.
He has Olivia, though, so he might as well use his Evos now.
Yeah, so do you think Sheepy is going to take the initiative to get rid of cards in JJ's hands?
Pretty sure, because I think his goal is to bait that he has an Albert, but he doesn't have one. Oh, he decides to keep the ward because he thinks it's Roach.
And so Sheepy just has curving out. He's probably just going to play Alwida's next turn as well.
Yes, but I'm not sure he'll evolve. Depends on JJ's play.
Yeah. So what do you think the best play here is? Would he need like a Will of the Forest to clear this?
The fact that he didn't play Will of the Forest last turn means he's either really greedy or just doesn't have it. He might just Tia this turn.
Do you think he would have Tia'd last turn?
The board was rather big for a Tia. I mean, you could double evolve, and so technically you could have cleared 2. But I would have rather saved it.
Looks like JJ's in a very precarious situation here. He had to use his Roach, show that he had, well, he did see the Roach earlier from the Goblin Mage, but now he has an Ancient Elf on the board and not much to do.
Top deck Albert. This is pretty bad.
Yeah, it looks like Sheepy's winning this game.
They're both playing rather defensive, just setting a bunch of wards and trying to survive, but neither of them seem to have a win condition until this Albert came out of nowhere.
Does Olivia not seem like a win condition here? Because he has such a,
Oh, if it's
command
Silverbolt, Olivia's rather slow, and you might just die off of Olivia. Because going on into turn 9.
Oh, do you think it was correct to play the Fangblade here and not playing the front card general?
I think he's realized he's just gonna go face for the win, so I don't think he really needs anything besides Fangblade to clear the board. Because
Yeah.
Fangblade technically 2-for-1 since the opponent cannot evolve.
Doesn't look like he's gonna end up winning this game. It looks like Sheepy's gonna take game 1.
Yep. There's not really any miracle you can pull here. Will of the Force only does 8 damage, and without Evo points, you cannot clear the Fangblade.
Maybe he could trade and then play Will of the Forest and get really lucky, kill the 3/5, and then the 2/2 after the trade,
Oh.
and the 1/1. He
He decided to reel he has White Wolf.
decided to have him reveal White Wolf doesn't seem correct.
No, not
Considering
at
he's
all.
dead on board. I wonder if
Oh,
Sheepy's
but
gonna show
another
Albert.
Albert. He decided not to play top deck Albert.
No BM.
Seems legit, but yes, this Fangblade addition to Control Swords is really strong.
Yeah, the Fangblades.
Unlike
10 to 2 for 1, right?
they tend to 2-for-1, but the face damage is probably the strongest aspect of the card. Lots of times you can't get through wards since everyone is teching against Roach. So when you evolve Fangblade on turn 8, people don't expect the 5 damage. And they might die through all the Oida's damage you set up and your early game board.
Seems very strong. Sheepy is now won with Sword. He is now gonna queue up his Haven deck, and
JJ's
might
probably
be-
going to stay with Forest.
Yeah, JJ probably will stay with Forest, considering his other deck is Shadow. And Shadow doesn't seem like to have a strong matchup against Haven unless it's aggro Shadow.
That's for sure. But how good is Silverbolt versus Seraph, since Silverbolt is a turn 9 play? It depends on who goes first or second.
Yeah, this is a 100% on who goes first or second, I would believe.
I mean, unless he does a Roach play, since it seems like he's Roach Silverbolt.
Looks like JJ's going first, so he might have a chance. But how do you
There's
like
a lot of wards in this deck.
Yeah, how do you like the Snake Priestess and Cleric Lancers in?
Cleric Lancer is probably one of the cards I've started adding in most of my Haven decks, since unlike Goblin Mount, which destroys your whole entire board, Cleric Lancer has really good stats, and when you evolve it, it has 7 attack on enemy phase, so it pretty much clears every card in the game.
Yeah, it clears most cards in the game, but do you think that it not having attack during your turn is a detriment to it in Seraph?
When you
Considering this-
evolve, it does 3 damage, and 3 is the magic number for Haven, so it's not a bad card. And since a lot of times Oglers and Darias trade into your minions, especially if they trade into Cudgel, which has 4 attack, so since those cards don't have 7 life, you can trade into it just fine.
So now we have this upcoming turn of Beast Color Arya or Snake Priestess. Most likely JJ has a Ancient Elf. He's going to try to play it. Do you think he should have played the Snake Priestess, or should he have played the Beast Color Arya instead?
I think the point is just to save as much face damage as possible. The Arya would have been nice, but you never really know what your opponent is playing.
Well,
Like, what if they don't have the Ancient Elf?
The-
The Snake Priestess is a safer play.
Yeah, Snake Priestess shows that you will lose less HP, but then again, like setting up a Beast Color Arya for 10-5 seems like very powerful. But if he does hold it, he does get to play Beast Color Arya on turn 4, and then Themis on turn 6, because Arya then pops on turn 7. Or no,
That's correct.
turn 7. Do you think he should play his Temple Defender here, or his Beast Color Arya, though? Or maybe another Snake Priest?
It's probably a Temple Defender, since it doesn't get removed by pretty much any card in Forest, especially since most of their cards do 1 damage.
Yeah, but maybe if playing the Snake Priestess was more correct, because he gets to double trade his Snake Priestess in. Well, not double trade, because he's probably going to trade into his 1-3 already. he has to set up a cudgel next turn. Do you think that's
It's
correct or
based
no?
off how greedy JJ decides to be this turn. Because if he trades into the Snake Priestess, he can always cudgel whatever else is on the board. And the reason why you want to play 2 cards is in case he has another Ancient Elf. So if he trades into the Snake Priestess, he trades into the Temple Defender, and he plays another Ancient Elf, you can still trade in the Snake Priestess and cudgel.
So what do you think? Again, we're going through JJ's best plays. What should he play on turn 5 after he's done his turn? Like, what is his best turn 5 play, and what should he do now to set it up?
He has Defina. Even if it's gonna get destroyed by an Ancient Lion, you need to get as many roaches into your hand. To the Art of Goblin Mage. That was a really greedy EPM. This board gets destroyed by cudgel.
Yeah, cudgel will end up really destroying him. Gets 1 face damage with his Seraph deck, although like Seraph is not a big...
It can out-tempo some slower sword decks though.
Yeah, and we did see that he is playing White Wolf Sword. He did reveal that he was playing White Wolf Sword. Or not Sword, Forest, excuse me. White Wolf Forest. And he is really showing that he's really, like, wants to be slower.
He might have done that on purpose to bait the cudgel so he can play Verdant Steward on turn 5. That is a possibility since he's shown it, and he doesn't want that card to get banished.
Oh, we did see Sfina, and that was our predicted best play on turn 5, so he could play
Roaches.
Yeah, his roaches quickly. But do you think he should play his Goblin Mage here, or is it too greedy to play into Ancient Lion Spirit?
It's too greedy to play an Ancient Lion, and right now he has to go for turn 8 20 damage, or 22 damage. Based off whether or not he'll still have an Evo by turn 8. He needs to have exactly 3-0 costs and 1 Fairy Circle, with 2 roaches and 1 bounce.
And now, what do you think Sheepy's best play is here? Is he going to play like an Ancient Lion Evolve trade that gets rid of his Ancient Lion? Doesn't really do much.
I think he's just seeking out Seraph because he's trying to survive.
And he looks like he's found his Seraph.
He's been rewarded, but now this trade is going to be awkward. He has to evolve and send things in. Oh, the greed plays.
He goes face and just doesn't do anything. Taking 5 seems very dangerous. He might just die here. Is it possible for him to die here?
Let's see. He has 1-0 cost, no EPM, so it's not unlikely. Because 17 is the magic number for turn 7.
He has a Snake Priest coming up next turn, and he did just play this Fairy out. Is it correct to just play this Fairy out, even though he's playing like a very like intensive deck?
He has 1 Goblin Mage, so assuming he has 3 roaches, and that's the best play. But I doubt it. As in 2 roaches in hand and the 1 Goblin Mage. It could just be he doesn't want to mill himself again since he just played Verdant.
Yeah. And this upcoming turn, after the board was cleared, it seems like this Ancient Lion Spirit will pull its weight this upcoming turn. Play Ancient Lion Spirit, then Beastcaller Arya, or like...
I think Snake Priestess. You have too low health to play Arya now.
Or he could like Blacken Scripture, but yeah, Snake Priestess makes it so you don't die this upcoming turn.
Yes. There's 5 cards in hand. It is actually still possible you can die.
He does know that he has a 0-cost Goblin in play.
That's for sure.
Or not in play, in his hand.
And when you kill the Vernon, he's going to get 2 more fairies.
So it's very possible he dies this upcoming turn with 2 Nature's Guidance, possibly?
Yes. It might actually be better to play the Black and Scripture, so he doesn't get the 2 fairies. Because 6 cards can still do 15 damage for sure, but you lower the chances of you dying compared to a Snake Priestess that just soaks 1 evolve attack from the Goblin Mage. That's a 0 cost.
Yeah, Black and Scripture makes it so he doesn't get fairies, so he doesn't deal an extra damage. But the Snake Priestess...
Because we've seen there's a lot of really high drop cards inside of JJ's deck, such as Verdant and White Wolf, so his hand could be clogged with higher cost cards. So we could assume that since he's only been playing 1 or 2 fairies a turn, that he might not have any fairies at all.
So this upcoming turn, we might see a White Wolf, like right now. And
yes.
so he's going to trade in, probably get a Silverbolt, maybe a Homecoming. if he's playing that type of build.
Silverbolt won't be able to kill Sheep next turn though. It's only 14 damage.
No, but maybe he combines Silverbolt with Roach and kills him, because again, we did see that he had still has that 0 cost Goblin Mage in his hand.
That's true. That is a lot of damage. The first bolt will do 7, and then the Goblin will add additional damage to Roach, so it will be a 3 damage on first Roach, assuming he doesn't play any other cards. So that means he only needs 3 additional damage, or just another Roach.
So was it correct to play this Seraph on turn 8? Maybe he should have played his Snake Priestess and evolve his Snake Priestess so he doesn't get killed by, say, an evolved Goblin Mage.
He doesn't exactly have many options here. If he doesn't play the Seraph now, it's gonna be out of his win condition.
And it looks like JJ didn't play his Silverbolt first. Maybe he is playing Homecoming, so now he brought down his damage.
That is possible.
Or maybe he's hiding his Silverbolt and he has triple Roach kill, or another Roach kill.
Oh, it is a
Oh,
Homecoming.
he is playing Homecoming.
So it's not Silverbolt. Maybe that's why he showed the wolf, to make Sheep think it's Silverbolt. And
he had double
therefore,
Roach.
Sheep played slower.
Look, we have the series at 1-1 now. We have now Shadow
That's
versus Haven.
versus Shadow. But yes, in the Seraph matchup versus Roach, it's rather unfavored for Seraph, because half the time if you won't be able to play Seraph on turn 8, because at that point you're either too low on life or your opponent just has lethal. The problem with that though is, like, you have no other win condition unless you tempo out the game, and if you stall long enough, they're just gonna do 20 damage OT.
So Sheepies has this Dark Offering card. It's a gold card from, I think it was the standard set.
I believe so.
What do you think his ideas were coming into play Dark Offerings and Seraph?
It plays the same role as Alter Fate in Seraph, where your hand gets clogged and you just want to draw a bunch of new cards. But the only difference is that this card doesn't rely on your hand size, but rather if you have about 5 cards in your hand, and if you sacrifice a tiger from Arya, you heal 4 life and you draw 4 cards, which is not bad for 4. It's actually really strong.
So, do you think if JJ is playing a mid-range-ish tempo deck, that he has a higher chance of winning, seeing Sheepy's hand now? A Snake Priestess on turn 2, maybe a Black Inscripture on his 2-drop? Or do you think JJ needs to go much faster to win this?
No, JJ's nightmare is going to be Cudgel, regardless of what class he is. Or, I mean, what archetype of Shadow he is. But we see the Sexton, so I'm assuming this is Neff.
Do you think it's Neff, or it might be like the aggro deck that's playing Sexton?
There is that possibility, but he didn't play a 1-drop, and he didn't keep any 1-drops or hard mulligan for 1-drops either, so that's rather suspicious. Okay, the Rabbit Necromancer kind of showed some sort of mid-range sausage.
Yeah, I've seen a Rabbit Necromancer, like, Last Words mid-range deck that was running around on ladder recently. I don't know about you, but it seems like this Rabbit Necromancer card dealing 2 damage on Last Words seems very powerful, especially since he can't exile, banish it this upcoming turn, because it gets destroyed instead.
Yeah. He still takes the 2 damage, wastes the removal, but it's better than taking 3.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to sacrifice Temple Defender yet.
And he does get, but JJ does get the Shadow. Do you think playing this 4-3 out on turn 4 is correct?
He has to play something to bait out Cudgel.
Yeah, plays right into Cudgel.
Temple Defender would have came out and just crushed it, and none of his ghosts could do anything about it.
So what do we think JJ needs to be playing this to get this upcoming turn to make sure he can
it has to be Fina or Cerebus.
You playing Fina in Shadow? Do you think Fina is in Shadow?
There's a lot of 5-drop. I mean, there's a lot of 2-drop cards that you can draw from Goblin Mage. It's similar to Aggro Blood, but usually Cerebus is the 5-drop we'll usually see for the combo.
The combo with Phantom Howl?
Yeah, it's 11 damage, but it's about 9, since going first you'll never have the evolve unless you're referring to turn 6. But right now it's too slow. especially seeing all the wards and removal that Sheep has.
So we see she playing Prison Priestess. We didn't really see that last game. Do you think like Prison Priestess to tutor for Seraph or like say a Sacred Plea is correct in his deck? Some people aren't playing that, just playing 3 Seraph or 2 Seraph and hoping to draw the Seraph.
The problem with Seraph is it doesn't have a body, and in some matchups, it's never really your win condition. Sometimes you just try to control the board and just go face half the time. Because Seraph is only good in versus other control matchups or when enemies don't have any sort of burn.
So we saw that Sheepy evolved here. Like, was the deal 5 damage really that like consequential? If he's going
it's terrifying since you can take another 11 damage next turn, so he would be set down to 2. And even though he has a decent amount of healing, there's a lot more burn in Shadow compared to normal mid-range decks.
Oh, we see him play Shadow Reaper and Skeleton Fighter. Does this really show that this is the aggro Shadow deck that we all see around in ladder sometimes?
It has to be Shadow. I mean, the aggro Shadow, yes, because you don't play Skeleton Fighter really in mid-range. You'd rather play a normal 1-2. Because the Necromancy 1 is something you rarely ever get early game.
And now we're at a point where it looks like JJ is very like unprepared to win this game. This 1-3 is very awkward for his Shadow Reaper to trade into. Looks like, but he has Dance of Death. So he's just trying to push face damage.
That Banish also removed 1 damage from the Shadow Reaper, which is very significant. Because every point matters right now.
And we do know that he has Mimi in hand still to deal 2 extra damage. And
so at most, he can only have 7 damage in hand. Assuming it's a Phantom Howl.
So this Blackened Scripture seems like really done for JJ. Blackened Scripture, the 2-2, trade into the 6-4. Played Temple Defender, probably it's game over.
Yeah, establish a ward. There's not much you can do from there. Not to mention all the healings. That Dark Offering will actually come into play soon as well. Oh, he decides to draw first.
Draw first. So he decided to play that, and if he Blackened Scriptures now and then plays maybe like a top deck Temple Defender, just like pretend you have Seraph in hand.
It pretty much sets this game in stone. There's not really much that can break through a Temple Defender since Ghosts do 1 damage. Oh, he decides to establish more wards. He doesn't care about the removal.
That's probably why his 1-3 is very powerful here. Like, if he does have Phantom Howl, the Phantom Howl doesn't actually get rid of this 1-3 very easily. You have to trade 3 of your ghosts in. Oh, he's gonna Mimi away hit the 1-1. It looks like this game is also sealed in stone. It's only a matter of time before Sheepy plays like a Seraph or like just beats him down with 2-2s. Surprising as it is from a Seraph game.
I mean, usually this is Seraph's other alternative win condition. You usually win on the board rather hard against aggro decks since not many of them can break through Temple Defender.
Cursed Soldier. Is this like a normal inclusion in aggro Shadow?
They're running 2 on average, though some decks only run 1. Since the 4 cost of Necromancy is not actually 100% assured by turn 7, since you Phantom Howl on turn 6. It's usually for extra burn to seal the game.
This Tribunal, I think it's pretty much game over at this point.
There's not much you can do. And the board is going to be full next turn, not to mention all the healing. Sheepy's probably going to Dark Offering the Tiger, just for 4 heal.
What about Dark Offering just the 2-2 and gaining... Oh.
You want the word. Well, there was that slight chance he could have died there. Actually, no, since there is no 3 cost direct damage for Shadow.
No, but maybe like a series of top decks where he gets Cursed Soldier, Dance of Death maybe, if he didn't have this Dark Offering or these healing prayers. Do you think he just plays out his healing prayers here so that he just kills his 5/4?
He could, yeah, probably. It'd be much stronger since he wants to survive all the burn. But he knows there's probably no more Cursed Soldiers, because that would be a really greedy deck to run 3. And 3 Demonic Strikes is only 9 more burn, so a maximum of about 13 burn left in the deck. If you don't include the Cerebuses, which could be another 4, so it could be 17. But he has none of those cards
Looks
right
like
now.
JJ has lost this game, and Sheepy has won the series.
Congratulations to
over.
Sheepy.